message from God, finding hope, love, and faith in every step. Welcome to God's chosen path. Have you ever paused amid the chaos of life to wonder if there's a deeper meaning behind your struggles? What if every challenge, every moment of doubt, carried a message from God, a call to hope, healing, and a renewed sense of purpose? In this story, we explore the divine mystery of God's love, His unwavering presence, and His infinite grace. From moments of despair to revelations of joy, this journey reminds us that no matter how dark the road seems, God walks beside us, offering light and guidance. Here's a question for you. Have you ever felt the weight of life's challenges and wondered if God hears you? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your story. Stay tuned, because today's message will not only reveal God's role in your life, but will inspire you to embrace faith, gratitude, and love. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on more uplifting stories and reflections. Together, let's uncover the life-changing truth of His message. Have you ever paused to ask yourself, what if every moment of pain and joy is a message from God? Imagine life as a vast wilderness, filled with twists and turns, where uncertainty looms like a heavy fog. Then, through the silence, a gentle whisper emerges. I love you. These words, simple yet profound, remind us that we are seen, cherished, and guided by a presence greater than ourselves. Let's begin with a story as old as time, the tale of Joseph from the Bible. Betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, and thrown into prison, Joseph's life was riddled with trials. Yet, within each struggle, there was a divine message. Trust me. Holding on to faith, Joseph transformed his suffering into salvation, not just for himself but for countless others. Have you ever faced moments of despair where hope felt distant? Perhaps, like Joseph, your greatest trials are the soil where your purpose will bloom. Picture a seed buried in darkness, surrounded by the weight of the earth. Could feel like a tomb, but in reality, it is a womb, a place where transformation begins. God's voice whispers in that stillness, "Don't be afraid. The soil is not your prison but the foundation of your growth." Each struggle, each tear, is a prelude to the beauty that is yet to come. Can you feel the hope stirring within you? This story is not just Joseph's, it is ours. Like a potter shaping clay, God molds our lives with hands both firm and gentle. Do you feel Him working within you, even in your most uncertain moments? These are His whispers. Trust me. Pause for a moment and reflect. Where in your life do you struggle to see God's hand? Perhaps in the chaos of daily life, you've missed His gentle guidance. Share your thoughts or hold them in your heart as we continue this journey. Each challenge is an invitation to deepen our faith and uncover the sacred lessons hidden within. When Jesus entered the world as a fragile infant in a humble manger, He brought with Him the ultimate message from God, "I am with you." This act of divine humility teaches us to find strength in surrender and hope amidst uncertainty. Imagine standing at the edge of a storm, with the wind howling around you. Suddenly, in the eye of the storm, His voice says, "Don't be afraid. I am here." Isn't it amazing how His presence turns chaos into calm? So, what is God whispering to you today? Perhaps He is calling you to let go of the burdens you carry, to trust Him just a little more. Can you hear Him saying, "I love you. Trust me"? Let those words flow over you like a gentle tide, washing away fear and doubt. Let them plant seeds of hope and trust in your heart. As we continue this journey, remember that God's message from God is not always in grand signs, but often in the quiet moments of our lives. Stay with us, and together, we'll uncover the deeper truths of His love and guidance. If this resonates with you, like, share, and subscribe to our channel God's Chosen Path. Together, let's explore the divine revelations waiting to inspire and uplift our souls. Have you ever felt the crushing weight of life's difficulties, as if the walls around you were closing in? In these moments, it's easy to feel abandoned. But what if every tear, every sigh, carried a silent message from God? He says, "Don't be afraid. I love you." These words are not just a reassurance. They are a lifeline, a reminder that even in the darkest valleys, you are never alone. Think about Joseph again. In the depths of the Egyptian prison, surrounded by cold stone and despair, he could have given up. Yet, in those moments of isolation, God's presence was undeniable. The very chains meant to bind him became tools to prepare him for the greater purpose that awaited. Can you see how your struggles might be shaping you for something greater? Perhaps the obstacles you face are not barriers but stepping stones, each one whispering, "Trust me." Let's turn to another story, the life of Jesus. When he walked among us, he experienced the full spectrum of human suffering: hunger, rejection, and betrayal. In the Garden of Gethsemane, as he prayed with tears and blood, he knew the weight of fear and sorrow. Yet even then, his prayer reflected a profound trust. "Father, your will be done." In his anguish, he taught us that God's presence is not the absence of pain but the strength to endure it. Have you ever cried out in the silence, wondering if anyone hears you? Know this: every cry is met with his whisper, "I love you. Don't be afraid." Imagine your life as a stormy sea. The waves crash, the wind roars, and you feel like you're drowning. Then, in the midst of it all, you see Jesus walking on the water, his hand extended to you. "Don't be afraid," he says. "I am here." His presence doesn't always calm the storm immediately, but it calms the fear within you. Have you ever reached out to him in your storm? What if the very chaos you fear is where you'll find him most clearly? Pause and reflect. What storms are you facing right now? What burdens weigh heavily on your heart? Take a moment to write them down or speak them aloud. When you do, envision handing them over to God, hearing him say, "Trust me. Don't be afraid." In times of uncertainty, it's natural to question, "Why is this happening to me?" But consider this: what if your trials are part of a larger, divine tapestry, each thread contributing to a masterpiece you cannot yet see? Like the Israelites wandering in the wilderness, you may not understand the journey, but God's presence is the manna that sustains you. "I love you," he reminds you, as he provides for your every need, even when you feel lost. These moments of struggle are not devoid of purpose. They are opportunities for God to reveal his power and love. Just as the blind man's healing in the Gospel of John demonstrated God's glory, your challenges may be a stage for his grace to shine through. Can you see how your pain might become a testimony of his faithfulness? Before we move forward, take a deep breath. Close your eyes and imagine God wrapping you in a warm embrace, whispering, "I love you. Don't be afraid. Trust me." Feel his love surround you, soothing your heart and calming your mind. If this vision brings you peace, share it in the comments or keep it as a quiet reminder in your soul. As we continue this journey on God's chosen path, remember that your struggles do not define you. God's presence does. Like, share, and subscribe to stay connected as we delve deeper into his messages of hope and love. Together, let's find comfort in his eternal promise. "I am with you always." When was the last time you paused to feel gratitude, even amidst life storms? Gratitude, like sunlight piercing through thick clouds, illuminates the path to peace. It transforms fear into faith, anxiety into assurance, and chaos into calm. God's message from God often begins with this gentle nudge: "I love you. Trust me." Imagine standing by a tranquil lake. You pick up a small stone of gratitude and drop it into the water. The ripples spread outward, reaching places you cannot see. This is what gratitude does to the soul. It radiates outward, touching lives in ways you may never realize. Each act of thanksgiving becomes a ripple in the vast lake of God's love. Have you dropped your stone today? What ripples are you creating? In the story of Jesus healing the 10 lepers, only one returned to give thanks. His gratitude was more than words. It was an acknowledgement of God's presence and mercy. Were not all 10 cleansed? Jesus asked, "Where are the other 9? Gratitude not only blesses the giver, but also deepens the relationship between the soul and its creator. How often do we, too, forget to return with thanks? Take a moment now to reflect. What can you thank God for today? Let us think about Joseph again. From a pit to a palace, his journey was filled with moments where gratitude could have been easily overshadowed by despair. Yet Joseph never let bitterness take root. Instead, he allowed gratitude to water his spirit, turning trials into triumphs. He saw every obstacle as part of God's plan, every setback as a setup for a greater purpose. Do you see your life's struggles this way? What if your pain is the soil where gratitude can bloom into hope? Gratitude, however, is not just a feeling, it's a choice, an act of faith. It's choosing to see God's hand even when the path is unclear. When Jesus multiplied the loaves and fishes, he first gave thanks, even though the food seemed insufficient. His gratitude preceded the miracle. What if your gratitude today is the key to unlocking tomorrow's blessings? Imagine your heart as a vessel, empty and waiting to be filled. Gratitude is the living water that fills this vessel, overflowing into every corner of your life. It nourishes your spirit and brings forth fruits of kindness, generosity, and love. And love, pure, unselfish love, is the most powerful ripple of all. Each act of love you share, no matter how small, is an echo of God's message. I love you. Don't be afraid. Consider this. In a world filled with noise and distractions, your gratitude can be a beacon of light. Each thank you to God is a prayer, a song, a declaration of faith. What are you grateful for today? Write it down, speak it aloud, or share it with someone you love. Let your gratitude flow freely, becoming a testimony of His presence in your life. As you go about your day, look for opportunities to be a ripple of love. A kind word, a helping hand, or a listening ear can transform someone's life. These acts of love, though seemingly small, reflect God's infinite love for us. Remember, I love you. Let those words inspire you to love others as He has loved you. Before we continue, take a moment to pause and pray. Close your eyes and picture yourself standing before God. His arms are open, His voice gentle. Trust me. Don't be afraid. I love you. Let these words sink into your heart, filling you with peace and gratitude. Here on God's chosen path, we believe that gratitude is not just a response but a way of life. Let's walk together, creating ripples of love and gratitude that reach every corner of the world. If this message has touched your heart, like, share, and subscribe to join us on this journey of faith. Together, we'll discover the beauty of living a life rooted in God's love and guided by His divine messages. Have you ever marveled at the depth of God's love? Imagine the Creator of the universe stepping down into the fragile form of a newborn. It's a mystery so profound it defies logic. A message from God written not in thunder or flames, but in the soft cries of an infant lying in a manger. Through this act of humility, God whispers, I love you. Don't be afraid. Trust me. The Incarnation is not just a moment in history. It is the ultimate bridge between divinity and humanity. Imagine a vast canyon separating us from God, our fears, doubts, and sins forming an impenetrable chasm. Then, picture Jesus as the bridge, His love stretching across the divide. Can you see yourself standing on the edge, hearing His voice calling out, Come to me, I am the way. Let us reflect on the life of Jesus. From His humble birth to His sacrifice on the cross, every step He took was a revelation of God's infinite love. He laughed with the joyful, wept with the sorrowful, and healed the broken. He walked among us not as a distant deity but as a compassionate companion who knows our struggles intimately. Do you feel the weight of His love for you? It's a love that shatters barriers and brings healing to the deepest wounds. Consider this: Jesus, fully divine, chose to experience the full spectrum of human emotion. He knew hunger, rejection, and heartbreak. When He faced the agony of the cross, it was not out of obligation but out of love. His sacrifice was a declaration that no pain, no sin, no failure could ever separate us from God's love. Trust me, I love you, He says, even in His final breath. Imagine yourself as a child lost in the wilderness, frightened and alone. Suddenly, a warm light breaks through the darkness, and a gentle hand reaches out to guide you. This is the essence of the Incarnation. God stepping into our wilderness, not as a distant observer, but as a loving parent saying, "Don't be afraid. I am here." The Incarnation also reveals a profound truth. We are not called to perfection, but to connection. God does not demand that we climb up to him. Instead, he comes down to us. Like a shepherd seeking the lost sheep, he finds us where we are, carrying us back to safety. Have you ever felt too broken, too unworthy to be loved by God? Let his message remind you, you are enough. I have chosen you. As we reflect on this divine mystery, let us turn to the story of Joseph and Mary. Two ordinary people entrusted with an extraordinary mission. Their journey was marked by uncertainty and sacrifice. Yet, they trusted God's plan, embracing the profound truth that his ways are higher than ours. Can you imagine the fear they must have felt? Yet, even in their fear, they clung to the message from God, "Trust me." Their story invites us to trust in God's presence even when the path is unclear. Like Joseph and Mary, we are called to step forward in faith, knowing that God walks with us every step of the way. What step of faith is God asking you to take today? Before we move forward, close your eyes and imagine Jesus standing before you. His eyes are filled with compassion, his hands outstretched. "Don't be afraid," he says softly. "I love you. Come to me." Feel the warmth of his love, the peace of his presence, and the strength that comes from knowing you are never alone. The Incarnation reminds us that God's love is not distant or abstract. It is personal, tangible, and infinite. It breaks through every barrier and meets us in our most vulnerable moments. Here on God's chosen path, we believe that this truth has the power to transform lives. Like, share, and subscribe to continue exploring the profound mysteries of God's love. Together, let's walk in faith, inspired by his presence and guided by his eternal message from God. The story of Christmas is not just a tale of a miraculous birth. It's a divine invitation to live with purpose, gratitude, and faith. From the humble shepherds in the fields to the wise men guided by a star, each character in the Christmas story received a message from God. "I love you. Don't be afraid. Trust me." Their lives were forever changed because they chose to listen, to follow, and to act. Will you do the same? Imagine yourself among the shepherds, standing under a vast, starry sky. The night is quiet until it is pierced by the song of angels proclaiming, "Glory to God in the highest." Fear grips you at first, but then their message soothes your heart. Do not be afraid. A Savior has been born to you. Can you feel the wonder and awe they must have felt? This same invitation is extended to you, to leave behind fear and step into the light of God's love. Now think of the wise men. Guided by the light of a star, they traveled across deserts and mountains to find the King of Kings. Their journey was long and uncertain, yet they pressed on, trusting the divine revelation. Their perseverance reminds us that faith is not a destination but a journey. What star is God asking you to follow today? What steps of faith are you being called to take? Each character in the Christmas story teaches us a profound lesson. The shepherds, with their humility, remind us that God's message is for everyone, regardless of status or circumstance. The wise men, with their determination, show us the importance of seeking him wholeheartedly. And Mary and Joseph, with their obedience and trust, inspire us to embrace God's plan, even when it disrupts our own. But the story does not end in Bethlehem. Jesus' birth was just the beginning of a journey that would transform the world. His life, death, and resurrection were the ultimate message from God, proclaiming, "You are loved. You are redeemed. Do not fear." What will you do with this message? Will you let it transform your life as it did for the shepherds, the wise men, and countless others? Reflect for a moment. What is God asking of you today? Perhaps it's a call to forgive someone who has hurt you, to trust him in the midst of uncertainty, or to share his love with those around you. Whatever it is, know that his voice is gentle yet persistent, saying, "Trust me, I am with you." As we conclude, let's turn our hearts toward action. The Christmas story is a reminder that faith is not passive. It demands a response. Like the shepherds who left their flocks to seek the Savior, or the wise men who offered their finest gifts, we are called to live out God's love in tangible ways. How will you respond? Will you be a beacon of His light in the world? Take a moment to close your eyes. Picture yourself standing at the manger, gazing at the newborn King. Feel the warmth of His presence, the depth of His love, and the peace that only He can bring. Hear His voice whispering, "I love you. Don't be afraid. Trust me." Let this moment inspire you to carry His love into every corner of your life. Here on God's Chosen Path, we believe that the story of Christmas is not just a historical event. It is a living call to action. Like, share, and subscribe to join us as we continue to explore the depth of God's love and the power of His message. Together, let's live as bearers of hope, peace, and joy, bringing His light to a world in need. The journey of faith begins with a single step. Will you take it today? As we bring this journey to a close, let's reflect on the profound meaning of the Christmas story and the timeless truth it reveals. Every moment of uncertainty, every trial, and every triumph carries a divine message from God. I love you. Don't be afraid. Trust me. These words are not just a reassurance but an eternal call to live in faith, hope, and love. The shepherds remind us that God's grace reaches even the most humble. The wise men inspire us to seek Him with perseverance and trust. And Mary and Joseph show us the power of obedience and faith in the face of the unknown. Through their lives, we see that God's love knows no bounds. It is infinite, personal, and transformative. This story is more than history. It is a call to action. It challenges us to embrace gratitude, trust in God's plan, and spread His love in our words and deeds. So, what will you do with this message from God? How will you let it shape your life and the lives of those around you? Take a moment now to reflect on what touched your heart most during this journey. Was it the call to trust, the reassurance of His love, or the invitation to share His light? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your story. Before we part, let these words resonate deeply within your soul. Don't be afraid. I love you. Trust me. Carry them with you as you step into each day, knowing that God's presence is with you in every moment. If this message has inspired you, please like this video, share it with someone who might need to hear it, and subscribe to God's Chosen Path. Together, we can continue to explore the depth of God's love, uncover His purpose for our lives, and walk the journey of faith hand in hand. Thank you for being part of this incredible journey. Until next time, may His peace fill your heart, His light guide your steps, and His love surround you always. Remember, you are never alone. He is with you, and His message is clear. You are loved.